Barbarian was directed by Zach Krieger, and welcome to a new apartment, which is still in its infancy. As you can see, there's nothing up yet. I'm still building it up as we go along. There is a bed though, so I'm gonna be on my bed for a little bit. This movie is about a young girl who checks into a B&B played by Georgina Campbell, but when she gets there, she finds out someone else is already living there, played by Bill Skarsgård. However, he says, you know what, let's split it because it seems like you are supposed to stay here for the night, so you take the room, I'll take the couch, and then eventually she discovers there's a creepy basement of sorts, and that's where I'm gonna leave it. Because I think it is best that I say nothing more than what the trailers have shown you. And mercifully, they have done a pretty good job of showing you nothing. It's important to see nothing or hear anything before going into Barbarian. I think it would be a mistake if you hear anything about it before you see it. Because this is one of those orphan first kill, malignant kind of movies. You have to just go in as blind as possible. Every single thing that you've heard about this movie in terms of what kind of craziness it is, to say the least, you may or may not get exactly what you expect out of it. But make no mistake, I had a blast watching Barbarian. I saw a movie at 10 o'clock in theaters for the first time since 2016. The last time I did this was for, I think it was the first Deadpool movie. Normally I try and make 7 p.m. showings, especially on Thursdays, because you want to get the review out there or something like that. But then I thought, you know what? Today's an opportunity. And so I show up there with a substantially packed audience, I must say. And I have to tell you, at some point in time, you're gonna wish that you see this with some audience, because there is an experience to this movie. It goes in such wild places, and Krieger does an amazing job directing it. It's very tightly directed and very tense throughout, and the way he keeps building on tension while also subverting it more often than not. In fact, surprisingly, there's a point where there's a subversion that it just took me off guard, and it is supposed to take you off guard, that I was surprised at how well they pulled it off. And the movie, it then plays itself out in some very unexpected ways that, again, makes this a very hard review to do, because I want to say so much, but I can't say anything at all, because I know I would be potentially ruining it for you if I say anything more than what I've already said. But you get some great performances in here too, especially from Georgina Campbell. This is a star-making performance, I think, especially in terms of the fact that I've not really seen her in much before this, but I hope that she gets a lot more recognition after this. She's damn good in the movie. Also, great turn from Bill Skarsgård. Always nice seeing him and stuff. Also, the movie is very brief on this in terms of the marketing, so I'm gonna keep it brief. But Justin Long is in the movie, and it was great seeing Justin Long as well. It's also a wonderfully shot film with some really great use of dark spaces. Again, trying my best to not spoil it for you guys over here. Very tense musical score to go with it, and some genuinely effective chills, scares, and really crazy imagery that, again, I can't really brace you for. But all I have to say is get yourself to a theater as fast as possible to check this thing out. I mean, if I had to go for issues too, I can't really mention it but I will say that there are some things that, there's one thing I thought that they could have maybe, just maybe, developed a little bit more. But on the flip side of it, they do something very clever with it that I thought was even more interesting. They decided to, again, in the subversions that I was talking about, they try something which I think was even more effective. And it still manages to deliver the desired effect. And at the end of it, you're kind of glad you don't get further detail, because it almost would have ruined something. That's as vague as I can put it without going into spoilers. So I know it's a very paradoxical flaw that I mentioned, but there are a couple of things before that I thought could have had that. Nonetheless, I really loved Barbarian. I think you guys need to check this thing out. I think you guys are going to be absolutely blown away by what you see. Hopefully so, especially if you're fans of those subversion of horror tropes and all kinds of craziness just hitting the fan. Like I mentioned, Orphan First Kill and Malignant for a reason. If you saw those two movies recently, you got some wild ass shit with them. And that's kind of where I want you to go in with. It's like, you're gonna get something really bizarre out of this, but hopefully it works out. I'm gonna give Barbarian a 9 out of 10. I'm pleased with movies like this, man. I give the same rating to Malignant and I stand by it. I think there are some movies that they just absolutely go for broke and they make it. Like they actually work. I celebrate movies like that. Barbarian is the latest in a long list of those things. It's been a pretty great year for horror for the most part, aside from a couple of, missteps along the way, but I have to say this is great, It's a great time to be a fan of the genre. Guys, thank you very much for watching. Look forward to a lot more reviews very soon because this place is finally getting going a little bit. As always, if you like this, please do subscribe, and I'll see you guys at the movies.